Hello and welcome back. Now we will move on to the Selenium portion of the tutorial. Just want to remind you that this is a course on Selenium Grid, and as such I will not be doing a deep dive into Selenium WebDriver, as that would require a separate and expansive tutorial series itself. However, I will start with an overview of the tests that I have constructed, then we will run it to show it working. Right, the test that we have is a login test, and you can get a copy of the test code here that you can see in the GitHub repository where it is stored. The link is provided in the description of this video. What does this test check? Well, this test automates a login to sourcedemo.com and verifies the page contains some expected text after clicking login. For example, an error message for bad credentials or content for a successful login. The key ideas of this test, well, we have the Selenium WebDriver remote. So this test creates a remote WebDriver, which you can see here. Now that talks to our Selenium Grid hub, which is hosted on our virtual machine. So the browser actually runs on our remote node, Chrome or Firefox, instead of on our laptop or desktop, whichever you're using. Now these are data-driven and multi-browser tests. So we have user credentials. These are all in the GitHub. So we'd have a username, user password, and then what we would expect to see in the page source once you've clicked login. We have JUnit 5 parameterization. We have the @parameterized test with @method source, use, and browser. This feeds the test all combinations of users and browsers so that JUnit runs the test multiple times automatically. Now we have reporting and screenshots. So here we extend the extent watcher. So this is for the extent HTML. I won't go into how the extent HTML works. That's another case for a tutorial as well. However, I have included the code and it's relatively straightforward to understand it. The code you can reference is right here. Under test, Java, support. So you have the extent utilities there and the extent watcher there. So have a look at those if they interest you. So what are the test steps? Well, first of all here we'll access sourcedemo.com. Then we'll enter the username. Then we'll enter the password and send those keys. This is all traditional Selenium here. Then click the login button, which is identified by its ID. And then we get the source, the page source, and then we look to assert that it's true that the page contains those expected phrases, those expected words that we showed when we looked on the user data before. That is products for when you've been a successful standard user, and epic sad face when you have a locked out user. How do we run the tests? You can run them from your local terminal, and these are the commands. Now if you want to run, say for instance, Chrome or Firefox only, you use the abbreviation for Maven, dbrowser Chrome or Firefox if it's Firefox that you want. Then dhub http hub IP. So you need to obtain your hub IP. So the easiest way to do this, and the most straightforward process, is go to Microsoft Azure homepage again. Go into your Selenium Grid hub. And you'll see that we have the public address, public primary NIC, and there it is there, primary NIC, that's your public IP, and you'll need to plug that in to here. And then of course 4444, the port where we're accessing all of this testing. Now if you want to run both the Chrome and Firefox, you simply leave off the dbrowser Same process again, HTTP, and with your hub IP programmed into there. So let's run those tests now. I'll run them on both browsers.